What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another amazing episode of the Viall Files Ask Nick edition. I'm your host, joined by Amanda and Allie, who is overseas. No, I'm just kidding. Last episode, I said you died, so she's back from the dead.
We protested, Allie. Don't worry.
Oh my God. I guess it's my own fault for not being in studio.
Yeah, see, that's what happens when you don't show up for work. You know, fake your death.
Very punishing
Well,
work
here I
environment.
Yeah. Just like Jesus, Allie has resurrected.
Risen 3 days later, baby.
Blasphemy. How you ladies doing?
Good. I feel like I haven't seen you guys in forever. What's new?
Well, I'll tell you what's new. My fucking book comes out tomorrow. Don't Text Your Ex Happy Birthday is dropping tomorrow, October 4th. And if you haven't pre-ordered, what the fuck? Truly. At this point, I've asked, I've pleaded, I've been polite, and now it's just more like, truly, what the fuck? You've been listening to the show for how long? Is that I wrote this book for you guys. No, I'm just kidding. But no, truly, I'm not kidding. Like, why, please. I'm done asking, please. Now it's just more like, what is wrong with you?
For the love of God.
If you've ever liked an episode of this show, you'll love the book. I truly mean it. It is available in audio. I am narrating it. Just get both. Get the audio version and get the book as a guide. Give it to a friend. You won't regret it. I mean, obviously, I know that if you can't afford it or whatever, do your thing. But also get to. Like I said on Thursday, if I could summarize it, it is a book to help the stuck feel unstuck. You know, obviously for people in relationships, whether you're out there dating, whether you're struggling with fuckboys and situationships, whether you're having a hard time getting over an ex, whether you're in a relationship you're not sure if you should be in, maybe you're in a relationship and you're having to face big decisions like taking the next step, like moving in. I'll talk about all these things I've learned the hard way, mistakes I've made. There's stories from you guys, the listeners, stories from the show, my stories from friends. But truly it is about helping people feel less stuck, because it's easy for us to all get stuck, and we're often getting stuck because we're having a hard time listening to our heart versus our ego, and it's hard to know which is which sometimes. And I cover it all. And again, it's meant to be fun and not a kind of in your face, you're doing this all wrong, but like more like some tough love, but slapped with a lot of empathy on it too. I really, really think you guys will enjoy it, and I sure hope you give it a shot. As of today being not the day you're listening to it, it was the #1 dating book on Amazon in new releases, above the two most popular ones, Steve Harvey's Why Men Love Bitches and Act Like a Lady and Think Like a Man. And like, truly, like,
come on.
what terrible titles.
Keep Why Men Love Bitches off the #1 list.
Yeah, come on. And the reviews are in. Obviously, thank you for all the people who pre-ordered last week when we had the people who have already bought the book and reviewed it. It really means a lot. There's like play-by-play instructions of how to set expectations and boundaries, how to define a relationship, how to get out of a situationship, how to make a situationship a relationship, and a bunch of other fun stuff. So truly, what the fuck? Go to viallfiles.com.
I bought my sister a copy. Nick signed it, and I gave it to her for a wedding present, and she is packing it for her honeymoon. So if she can find a purpose in reading the book, everyone can find a purpose in reading the book.
There you go. Thank you, Allie. Thank you for the plug. Viallfiles.com, VIALLFILES. There's a link for everything to pre-order. It's the last day to pre-order, and pre-orders are really important for the book, and I don't know why, but that's what they tell me. So it would mean the world if you have been thinking about buying it, if you've been debating it. Today is the day to go to viallfiles.com, and there's a link for all different ways to get the book, whether it's Amazon or IndieBound. Bookshop.org and IndieBound are ways to support your local bookstores. It's the same price as Amazon. You procure it the same way. It's delivered right to your door. You're just supporting independent bookstores. So we always encourage that if you can, but truly any way you go about getting it, I would greatly appreciate it. It truly means a lot. I really put everything I had in this book. It actually turned out. I'm as shocked as you might be as well.
And if you're listening to this on October 3rd before 11:59 p.m. Eastern, you can still enter the sweepstakes where you can potentially win a little FaceTime with Nick,
Yeah,
a
self-love
$100
day.
gift card
Yeah.
for self-care. Think about it. You spend $25 on a book, you get a $100 gift card. You're turning a profit.
Approved by relationship experts like Dr. Laura Berman and a behavioral scientist like Dr. Maya Shankar, as well as best-selling author Kazi David and Elizabeth Wagmeister, chief correspondent of Variety. They all say you should buy it. So I feel like these are people you should definitely listen to. I mean, not that I expected like my fans to like read it and tell me it sucks, but like so far, no one's been like, not as good as I thought, which I'm sure someone's going to say that, I'm sure, but I really think it turned out. So anyways, I'll shut up. Also this week, we do have Jason on Going Deeper. It's an amazing episode. A lot to dive into. You will not want to miss that. A lot of unanswered questions like what happened in the fantasy suite, stuff like that. What did they talk about? Why he decided to leave his mental state. He's a really fascinating guy. I think you'll want to hear from Jason. As far as the Tino episode, I know we told you we were going to have it. The guy's working on his mental health right now. We have to respect that. He went through a lot. I promise you, we will do our best to get Tino on this show and get some of those many unanswered questions answered. But for now, we do have to respect a guy who is just trying to take care of his mental health because God knows he was put through it. And we certainly empathize with that. So check us out for going deeper. Certainly we'll be recapping Paradise. ViallFiles.com. Through the book. Let's get to the callers.
Question time with Nick. Let's ask Nick your sexy questions.
How's it going?
Good. My name is Catherine and I'm 19 years old.
Hi, Catherine. How can I help?
So basically my question is how to transition at the end of long distance with my boyfriend. So I'll give a little bit of background. We've been dating for almost 2 years. We started officially dating towards the end of our senior year of high school. And at that time, we were both committed already to go to 2 separate states to play college sports. So we agreed right from the get-go that we didn't want to follow each other to college. We know we're so young. So we wanted to do our own separate thing. And so, yeah, basically our whole relationship, we were preparing to be long distance and then we've been long distance ever since. And it actually has been great for us. We grew so much as individuals and as a couple. So yeah, we really enjoyed long distance, but unfortunately we both ended up having pretty poor experiences out of state. And we both ended up transferring back to a college in our hometown. I made the decision a semester ago. So I've been here this whole year and he just decided recently this summer for completely separate reasons. We held true. We didn't want to follow each other, but it just so happened financial reasons, sports went wrong and all that stuff. So yeah, nothing's really happened, but just looking for some preventative advice on how to transition to being a normal couple, I guess. I don't know. We don't want to spend 24/7 together because that's what we were used to. When we were back in our hometown, we would spend every second with each other because we were preparing oh, I won't see you for 2 months. Yeah. But now that we're back together, I don't want to look back in 6 months and realize that we pushed away our friends, only hung out with each other. So,
well, step one is knowing that it's a priority for you not to do that. So you're already ahead of it.
Yeah.
Don't live with each other.
Yeah, we are.
Okay. So there you go. That's a step in the right direction.
I loved learning language throughout all of grade school. I found it super fun. And now that I'm not in school anymore, I miss it. I miss chatting. I miss learning about a new culture. I think whenever you learn a new language, it always makes you think of the words even in your native language differently. And Babbel is the perfect way to learn a language because it gives you the tools you need to actually speak a language. You learn it from native speakers. The lessons are really short, digestible, but also consistent. So that way you're developing the kind of proficiency you need to get speaking.
In just 10 minutes a day, you can complete lessons on Babbel. Babbel is this amazing app that you can get. You can start having real conversations in new language in as little as 3 weeks. They have 14 different languages, including Spanish, French, Italian, and German. Again, Babbel's speech recognition technology helps you improve your pronunciation, so you too can get flattering comments on the internet when you are bold enough to speak Spanish in a wildly popular podcast. They have podcasts, games, videos, stories, live lessons. You can do Babbel Live. Super interactive, super convenient. And even if you're someone who doesn't want to get into learning a whole new language, but you're traveling, you're going to Cancun or Mexico, maybe you're going to Europe, say France or Germany, and you just want to learn a little bit just to get by. And I'll tell you what, the French people are super delightful when you just say bonjour. Right now, get up to 55% off your subscription. 55% off.
It's basically free.
Basically free. When you go to Babbel, Babbel.com/VIALL, that is Babbel.com/VIALL for up to 55% off your subscription. It comes with a 20-day money-back guarantee. Babbel, language for life. Canva, design like a pro. It is amazing what you can do with Canva Pro. Allie and Amanda do amazing things.
It's because there's a graphic design software out there that makes everybody look like they got a degree in
graphic design. The things I've been able to create, the people I've been able to fool.
Also, let's talk about the templates because the templates on Canva are set you up to make the most elegant, classy, whatever you need, whether it's like you made that itinerary for the bachelorette party that looked so good. I send out like community newsletters for events that I'm hosting. They make it so simple to just kind of plug in the specific details to you. If you want to play around with any colors, etc., you can. But the Canva Pro account is so worth it because all of the images and graphics that you get access to, they elevate anything.
Well, it's like the graphics, the templates, the features of like removing the background. Suddenly people are going to think you're like an expert at Photoshop. And then you can just like customize everything. You can, I don't know, you can download it in any format you want, whether that's like stagnant and still photos or like a moving video and animation things.
So all you party planners out there, your PTA moms, if you're planning a wedding, a birthday party, it's amazing what you can accomplish at home. Save a ton of money too on invites and look like you spent zillions of dollars with Canva Pro. Design like a pro with Canva Pro. Right now, you can get a free 45-day extended trial when you go to canva.me/VIALL. That is canva.me/VIALL for a free 45-day extended trial. That's canva.me/VIALL. What do you like about long distance?
I just like that it gave us our independence. Like, we have a lot of trust. Like, there was never issues with that. So it was just nice. Like, we would be able to go about our day-to-day lives, like, independently. And then at the end of the day, come back and like share our highs and lows. Like, we would FaceTime every day, but just for like 30 minutes, like just to check in. So it really let us let us have our own lives, but then have our life together, which is...
So I guess my first question is, are you 100% certain that you're both just on this same page? If he were on this call, he would be echoing everything you're saying, right? Like, yep, like I love...
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Because we've had these conversations, we just like, we don't know where to start. We don't want to set like a hard boundary, like I can only see you 3 days a week. But like, how do we set boundaries?
I don't really know you at all, obviously.
Yeah.
In a weird way, you remind me of my brother. And what I mean by that is, like, I remember when my brother was going to college, who's now a dentist, but like he was just a very, he wanted to be a dentist at 7. And when he went to college, instead of being like the older brother who was like, hey man, like get your shit done and study and like, just manage, I was more like, don't forget to have fun. And the reason why you remind me of my brother is that, like, while most people, I would give advice for something else, my advice to you is, don't forget to enjoy your boyfriend and the fact that you guys live in the same city, Like, if it's a priority for both of you to have your independence, to not alienate friends, to still have your sense of your own self and still chase your own individual goals and dreams, like, it's going to happen, So don't stress each other out or the relationship trying to, like, have these kind of, like, rigid rules. So early on, fuck it, maybe you guys are going to hang out every day for a couple weeks because you missed each other. I don't know. And that would be okay. Again, you've heard me say all this all the time. Communication is everything. Recognize that it's still a priority. And then after 2 weeks or whatever, you just check in and be like, you know what, I'm going to do this. I want to prioritize Heather and I want to go out with some friends and I'm going to be busy for the next couple of days. You check in or you don't check in. I don't know what your kind of expectations are with each other. But like, the point is, like, when I mean check in, like every day, like you FaceTime every day, that was an expectation you guys had, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, like, there always should be an expectation of like check in periodically about like, how's the move going, And like, I don't think you need these rules. Just... like little things, not spending the night at each other's places all the time. What a lot of couples do, it's just like, your toothbrush is at his place or vice versa. And the next thing you guys know, you're spending 4 nights a week together at each other's places. Don't do that. Say goodnight and go home and have those kind of boundaries set. Have spending the night at each other's places being something you guys really enjoy, like a special date night, something you guys make special, which quite honestly is fun and exciting that a lot of people end up, taking for granted. It's something we always look forward to, like, especially when we were younger and not having to ask our parents to do all these things. And then like your next thing you know, you're sleeping at your boyfriend or girlfriend's houses. And then 6 months later, it's just like, whatevs. It's not special anymore. So you get to kind of keep that potentially special, like these kind of intimate moments and overnights and things like that can always be thought of as like, let's have a date night and let's spend the night together. But most of the time you don't,
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't think you guys are going to have to worry about it too much because if it's a priority for both of you, you guys will make it happen. The only challenges you guys might face is if it stops being a priority for both of you. Like all of a sudden, it's possible you guys both move home. Let's say he just really enjoys being around you. The good news is you guys are moving home in places you both have friends, yes?
Yeah, for sure. He's coming to the school where I've been, so a lot of my friends that I've made there like are his friends too. So that was like another one of my questions is like our friend groups, like how smart is it to merge or
I think it's fine. Again, it comes up to you. Like if it's a priority for him, he's going to want to make his own friends too. That might take some time, but like he's 19.
Yeah, he'll make friends. He does not have a problem with that.
Yeah, and most 19-year-old guys like spending time with their guy friends. So I feel like he's going to make some guy friends, and he might start making some of those friends through your friends, but eventually he'll make his own friends that there's some like overlap, but whether you're friends with them or not, he's still going to want to hang out with the boys, so to speak.
Yeah, and that'll be I'm fine with having the same friend group, having your own friends, all those things. Yeah.
My biggest advice to you is don't make it more of a problem than it needs to be. And try to carry over like the independence you had that was forced and still have that in a relationship. And if it's still a priority, you guys will make it happen.
Yeah, for sure. I think it'll definitely naturally get there. I just don't want to look back and regret anything.
Like again, it's not even a problem now, but it could be a problem if, let's say, he doesn't make friends fast enough, or you're like, oh, I'm going to go hang out with the girls. And he's like, oh, but I thought we were hanging out. Well, then that's a sign to like check in and just be like, oh, okay, we can hang out, but like I just want to make sure we're still prioritizing, but also have empathy early on that he might feel lonely or not have friends. But I wouldn't worry about this all that much. Mm-hmm. Especially while he's transitioning home, just enjoy him. Enjoy having him hang out with your friends. Have some fun. And then maybe promise each other to check in a month from now once he gets settled in that you're still focused on maintaining this independence. And in the meantime, those little things like not moving in, not spending every night together, or maybe only saying like, well, I'll only spend one night a week together. Boom. I think that little thing can go a long way,
Yeah. I also had a question, like another thing we did when we were long distance was like texting. Like we would text throughout our days and we would talk at night. And I've already noticed like we still do text a lot just because it's natural, but I almost feel like we don't have to since we are seeing each other. So what do you and Natalie do? Do you guys text throughout the day? I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You will still text because he's going to have his life. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think you're worrying about it a little too much because, Natalie's also in LA. I'm at work. She's at work. She's doing her thing. There might be something that comes up where I want to ask her a question, or maybe I'm thinking, you just check in. It's going to slightly change because before you were doing it not because you were a part of each other's day, but you were just doing it to like make the other person feel included. So you might do less of that. I wouldn't overthink it. Let it work itself out organically. Only address the problem if you realize, hey, I think this is becoming a problem. And that problem would be one of you is like texting a lot and the other person's getting annoyed. And then if one person's getting annoyed by the expectation the other person has, then you sit down and say, all right, like, how do we address this? Like, clearly you're frustrated with the fact that I'm doing X, Y, or Z or vice versa. How do we find that common ground? But I know
he'll be open to those conversations too. So.
No, I mean, I love that you're trying to get ahead of it. I love that you're trying to like be all like responsible about it. But don't forget that you are only 19. It's still an early relationship. Yeah. You're not going to be able to prevent every problem that is going to happen. Sometimes you just have to go about it. A problem's going to come up, and then you have to figure out how you address that problem.
That's good advice.
Sometimes
I'm definitely a planner.
Yeah. Sometimes trying to get ahead of a problem creates the problem. All right. Well, congrats on being able to spend more time with your boyfriend.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, just enjoy it. My biggest advice, just enjoy it. Have some fun. Set some minor boundaries. And then if things come up, communicate, talk through it, empathize with one another, and you'll figure it out.
Perfect.
All right?
That's great.
All right, take care.
Thank you, you too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. What's your name?
Good. My name is Lauren, and I am 29.
How can I help, Lauren?
So I am in a really, I would honestly just say toxic work situationship. I've been at this job for about a year now, and I got close with this guy. His relationship has been on and off, and my sister has essentially called me his emotional fluffer.
So he has a girlfriend, or
on and off, yes. And he and I were just getting close. Like, I've always had guy friends, so I didn't see or like think too much of it. But she was like, essentially, he's getting all his emotional needs from me and all his physical needs from the girlfriend. Then we started getting a little flirty, and I was like, okay, I don't like the girlfriend, but like, this is disrespectful. Like, I can't do this. And then they break up a week later and we're inseparable. So we're hanging out all the time.
Yeah. And when you say you don't like the girlfriend, have you ever met the girlfriend?
Yes. And she's very, aggressive with me.
Aggressive how?
Like, again, I have guy friends. So if I try to like, hey, finish my drink for me, she'd grab it from him and be like, hand it back. Like, absolutely not. Or just like basically tell him, can't talk to me. And I only hear bad things from him. Right.
Yeah.
So like,
do you have any empathy for her?
I do now.
Okay.
100%.
Why?
Knowing them now and knowing him a little bit better, I can see him just having a flirty personality. Like, essentially, my mom even called me the other woman without the physical part of it.
Okay.
Right. So I tried to distance myself. They broke up. We get closer. And then it's, well, I don't know if I want to be back with her. I'm still trying to get over her. I really want to be with you now.
He said this.
Correct.
That he wants to be with you. And what'd you say? Like, where are you with this?
I wanted to keep it as platonic as possible. Like, knew I could easily see myself getting there, but I didn't want to. And then finally, when he was like, I like you, I just need to figure out my own stuff. I let myself get there. And essentially I've been in this like toxic back and forth with him for the last like 4 months.
Interesting. Okay. How can I say this? I guess I don't totally believe you.
Okay.
I mean, I believe what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? I believe that you believe it. And maybe I'm not hearing you right, but like it's a pretty common thing, right? Because, you know, you're saying, well, I was trying to keep it totally platonic, but I could see myself getting there. And I feel like our feelings, they're not that nuanced, I guess is what I'm saying. I think we either deep down like someone or we don't. And,
no, I for sure deep down like him.
Okay.
Oh, I think I'm in love with him at this point.
Great. So like, yeah, there we go. So that's I want to get to that truth, like how you really feel about the situation and about him. Okay. So you feel love for him.
100%.
Okay, 100%. And what do you mean? I'm sure you've heard me, challenge that statement with other people in terms of I don't doubt you care about him, and I don't doubt you feel emotions and excitement, and I don't doubt you've, really bonded and shared some intimate details, but I would love for you to receive a lot more than I can assume you're getting in this relationship to feel love towards him.
It's a lot of the back and forth, right? So like I really find him attractive in the things that he like wants for his future and wants for his future family and how he kind of handles himself at work. The relationship he's had with me, and it's not that, we're friends with, then it became more, it was, I'm going through my own crap and he has pushed me to go to therapy. He's pushed me to, when he put me in my place when I need to be put in my place. And I think we just have that relationship and that friendship where we can do that with one another. And I really respect that about him. But to that point, he knows he can always pull me back when he needs me. So he's told me he loves me. He told me he wants to, I've showed him things that he didn't know he wanted a relationship. Has
he ever told you he loves you while having a girlfriend?
No, it's always been when they broke up.
And then what do you say?
I didn't say it back until he told me that one night we were out drinking and he told me that he didn't see himself being with me any longer.
With you?
Yep. And then the next day he says, well, all that stuff. Well, I saw myself being with you and you showed me things I never thought I needed or I wanted. I love you. I don't see you not being in my life. So essentially we're at the point where I try to pull away and he pulls me right back in. And it's not like I can just ghost him and never talk to him again. Like, we share a wall at work. We're constantly with each other. It's where is he? Lauren knows where he is. Like, it's everyone at work knows how close we are. I can't get away.
Gotcha.
And I know at this point I need to.
Have you accepted that it's truly done? Like, I guess, what's your question? Are we trying to suss out this situation? Are you looking for advice on how to help distance yourself? Like, what's your goal as it stands right now?
I mean, I'd be lying if I said there wasn't like hope. Like, I know I deserve better. Like, if I was in the ex's position, like, I would hate me too. I totally understand and if I were with him, I wouldn't want him to be the flirty way he was with other girls. Like, I know I deserve better, but at the same time, we've told each other we're each other's people. Like, we're best friends. We're never leaving each other's lives, but I still see him in that way, not just as a friend. And I think everyone in my life has told me I need to distance myself, so I just don't know how. So I guess that's it. Like, how do I distance myself in an impossible situation, or what I feel it is?
It's a hard situation. It's not impossible. And I think that's the first step, as I think you need to just start changing what you say to your mom and your sister, and more importantly, yourself, is to, stop saying things to yourself like, he's my person, this is impossible. Again, like, say what is actually true. Like, there's things I like about him, he's made me feel certain ways that I want to feel in a relationship, because that's more, when you say it like that, well, then that doesn't sound so hard to replace or definitive. I know when it comes to like, when we find our one and only, at least some people, not me, but like some people like to you want to hype it up, right? You're in a relationship, you're like, yeah, I finally found my person. They're perfect. We're in love. This is meant to be. And that's great. And if you're in a committed relationship and you're talking about marriage and engagement, or you are engaged, and certainly if you're married, gas your relationship up, say all the great things that people want to say about relationships if we're in a relationship. But when you're not in a relationship, when you're in a situationship, or when you're breaking up with someone, we do this weird thing where we still like gas up the other person and the situationship, and we kind of beat ourselves up and make ourselves feeling even worse about a situation that we can't have, right? So I think you just got to be very careful what you tell to yourself about this guy in this relationship. And like I said, like, saying that he made you feel certain ways that you want to replicate in the future, that can allow you to be sad for what you're not having, right? But also optimistic that you can find it with someone else, because you can. You can find a guy who encourages you to get therapy. Because what are you describing, right? You're describing a guy who you've gotten to know long enough, right? That you've been able to share, I'm guessing, some insecurities or vulnerabilities with this guy, and he's listened. He's not made you feel judged, and then has challenged you at times when you felt like you needed to be challenged. Maybe I get that attraction. I want that in my relationships, right? A lot of people do. But you can definitely find it with other people. Right now, you found it with him, but he's definitely not the only one. And then you want to start thinking about the things that you don't have with him. Or you want to think about the fact that, like, well, he is a pretty flirty guy. And boy, if I were in a relationship with him or anyone else, and imagine being in a relationship with him and he has a different job, and someone who, who is an attractive person with blonde hair, who'd like, you date someone and all of a sudden you're like, hey, you work with someone who's kind of like my, they don't look like me, but boy, they sure seem like your type. Would you trust him? Would you trust if he was in a relationship, if you're in a relationship with him and he got a different job, or maybe joined like an after school program, or after work, like a co-ed league that you weren't involved in, and then he started like hanging out with someone on a regular basis and started talking about his friend Emily that he really got to know? Like, how would that make you feel? Because that's who he is. Like, that's, he might be the person who is doing all these things for you, but he's also the person who is doing these things with you and saying these things to you with a girlfriend. And I know he said he loved you when he didn't have a girlfriend, but it sounds like it's gotten pretty messy. And for a guy who's going flip-flopping back and forth, I'm certain that she has a very different version of their timeline.
I completely agree. Yeah, no, I know for sure. I have so much more sympathy these last 6 months for her than I have, the prior 6 when they were really toxic. I guess I just, when I pushed him to ask why he didn't see us being in a relationship anymore, it was, I'm too important to him to lose.
That's bullshit.
And
yeah.
No, I agree, because I was in the same thing 5 years ago, and I was like, well, I did the same thing, and then I was in a relationship for 5 years, so I don't see that. And then I just am always there for him when he needs me. Like, I'm too available, and I hate that but I want to be, and I can't not want to be that person for him. I think that's like where I'm really struggling.
Yeah, and then where you're going to struggle some more is that you're going to have to mourn the loss of a friendship that you enjoyed, because that's the truth.
How do I do that when I see him every day?
It's going to be tougher for sure. Yeah, for sure. But I think you just really have to see him differently. All right. Wine. We all love it. You love it. We like watching TV, like your favorite reality TV shows, and drinking it. But the thing about wine sometimes is that we don't really know what we're drinking. I know that's been my experience, but not until First Leaf. First Leaf not only makes it convenient, but you actually start getting good quality wines and wines that they teach you a little bit about. Forget driving to the wine shop. Forget shopping by the label, which I'm as guilty as anyone shopping by the label.
I know the graphic designers.
Yeah.
Have a chokehold on the wine industry, and that stops now.
Yeah.
Let's let the experts.
It's unbelievable. Like the shame. I've been just until First Leaf. Forget about all that. First Leaf, you rate each wine you receive with a simple thumbs up, a thumbs down. Then their experts will send you personalized selections with new and exciting bottles in every box. In fact, First Leaf can recommend wines you'll love with 96% accuracy. As your taste evolves, if you're not completely satisfied with the bottle, First Leaf will credit you for another one. That's wine made simple. Why wait any longer? Sign up today and you'll get your first 6 bottles for $39.95 plus free shipping. Go to tryfirstleaf.com/VIALL. That's tryfirstleaf.com/VIALL to get your first 6 bottles for $39.95 plus free shipping. Tryfirstleaf.com/VIALL. Caraway, pots and pans and cooking sheets. Caraway does it all, and they do it in a safe and elegant way. Not all pans are created equal. We know that.
I have this pan.
They're not all safe.
No,
too.
and I have this pan. I was literally thinking about caraway the other day because I've been using it to cook eggs in my new apartment. Been making a lot of scrambled eggs. The time I've been spending just scraping it off when I'm done cooking, like it's gotten so bad that I have to take like a knife to it. Like no sponge is able to get it cleaned. And I'm like, the time and money I probably would have saved at this point if I would have just gone online, caraway.com.
I know what I'm getting you for Christmas.
Thank God.
Getting you some caraway.
Also, with nonstick pans are super easy, but a lot of ones have some weird, funky, toxic chemicals that you just like really don't want to mess with. And Caraway has that good peace of mind of being like, these are ingredients that I know will not make me have an upsetting doctor's appointment.
Easy to clean. They look great. They look fancy. They're the types of pans that if you don't want to put them away in the cupboard, you can hang them and display them like you are a classic fancy chef.
I leave my Dutch oven like on my stovetop because
What color
it's such
did you get?
I got the teal.
Oh.
You both got the Caraway Dutch oven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got mine in cream,
What are you
though.
making?
Pastas, stews.
I've been trying to bake
Rice.
sourdough bread soon.
Over 25,000 people have raved about their Caraway kitchen, and now it's time for you to try it yourself. Whether it's cooking or baking, they have an amazing baking set with all different types of, I have the cooking sheets. So much better than what I had before. And they like to just, everything looks nice with Caraway. Visit carawayhome.com/VIALL to take advantage of this limited time offer for 10% off your next purchase. This deal is exclusive for our listeners, so visit caraway.home/VIALL or use code VIALL at checkout. Use code VIALL at checkout. Caraway, non-stick toxic cookware made modern. Do you watch The Bachelor? I don't have you.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I was on The Bachelorette the second time and Caitlin broke up with me, different situation altogether. But obviously I was emotionally invested when I took this big risk to take another leave of absence from my job and chase this girl that I had this 3 or 4 week love affair via FaceTime with. And well, very different. In those 4 weeks or so, we shared a ton and we were really connected and bonded. And then I took this big risk to go on this show. And I was just like, hey, I'm here for you. So don't fuck with me, please. Send me home if you like someone else. And then a lot of shit happened while filming, all that led up to me being pretty confident the day of, right? And then she chose another guy, right? And now granted, hindsight 2020, I'm really thankful that how things played out. But in the moment, I was really upset. I was really angry at her. I felt heartbroken. I felt sad, and I was mourning the loss of all these things we shared, and that she was in this relationship, and I didn't even have the ability to talk to her about anything. I just said to go away, and that was hard. But that being said, I just remember feeling like it was that much easier for me to get over because, quite honestly, I was just who does that? At the time, I felt like she was incredibly selfish and only considered her feelings as the bachelorette and that I was just kind of a pawn in her love story. And I didn't feel like she was very honest with me. I felt like she was cavalier with my feelings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And again, I got over it and I'm fine and all grateful, but that really helped me get over her pretty fast. I was kind of I don't want to date someone like that. I don't want to date someone I don't know if I could trust her. And I kind of just had to see her a different way, even though I was still feeling heartbreak and loss, and I was still feeling love at the time for her. I had to like tell myself, I'm like, nah, I don't want to date someone like that. And I meant it too. And I really started seeing her in a different light. You know, it didn't make everything go away in that moment, but I really like, I could honestly like start listing off the things I didn't appreciate that she did, how she handled situations, how I'm like, wow, that was really fucking reckless with my heart. Like there's no way in that moment, based on what she did and how she said it and what I said to her, there's no way she can convince me, now that I'm looking at it, that she actually really gave any shits about like my feelings. You know, people always say like, you know, I feel bad. I feel like they don't feel bad. They feel bad that they feel like the bad guy, but they don't feel bad like they actually cared about your feelings in the moment, right? Like it's fine. Yeah, we all need to apologize from time to time because sometimes we can be inconsiderate and we can be selfish. Right? And when we recognize that, we say, hey, I'm sorry for being selfish. I'm sorry for being inconsiderate. And if it's someone that we call a friend or a lover or family, like it's really important to mean I'm sorry and to learn from that mistake and not replicate that mistake, because are you really sorry? Do you really care about me? Did you really learn from this like selfish moment or this inconsiderate moment? Because you seem to do it over and over and over. And when they do it over and over, you have to start accepting that's who they are and then that's how they're going to treat you in a relationship. And when you see it that way, I think it makes it a lot clearer that even though it does make it sad that you lost what you had, and it doesn't make it immediately go away, like I said. But like you can kind of be like, I don't know if I really want to be in a relationship with this person. I enjoyed the friendship that we had, but the truth is like it was more than a friendship. It was I had feelings, and I have other friends, and like I've said many times before, you just start seeing it as, all right, well, I did like this. I want to replicate this. I don't want to replicate that. And you start, using it as a lesson for like looking for people in the future. As far as your immediate, problem, I think you just really have to challenge yourself to see him differently, to almost kind of really just go back in your memory and think about all the times that he said these very cavalier things to you about his feelings and what it meant. And while I'm sure it felt good to hear in the moment, recognize that like he was being very selfish when he said that. He was being very reactive. He was feeling a sense of loss from this relationship that he had, and he was projecting and overcompensating with you, and he was using you, and I'm not to say that he doesn't care about you, and I'm sure he thinks you're special, but in that moment it was more important to him to feel that validation from you. And so he said this, and he said it because he wanted to hear something back. He wanted you to make him feel important, special, and needed and loved, because he wasn't getting it somewhere else. And it wasn't just about you, it was about him. It was about his feelings and his needs. And that's a selfish person. And that's someone who like is going to continue to be selfish in any relationship that he's in until he actually like realizes how he affected, other people's lives. And my guess is that's going to be after he loses both of you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I guess I don't know how to distance myself because we work in a job that we work a lot of hours, 14 plus hours every other week.
One-on-one with him? Like, are you like on a team together?
No, but we work closely together. And then
can you switch desks? How big is your company? Do you have like an HR?
We have there's 40 of us.
Okay, so not very big.
And no desks. That's it. It's just, and then we all hang out outside of work. So we're all from different areas. None of us really have friends outside of work because we work 24/7. So we go out together and we do things together, or fortunately, I'm a dumbass and spent the weekend just with him last weekend. And just when it's just the two of us, I really value our friendship. But then my therapist called him a drug.
Yeah.
She was like, you experience those super high highs, but remember those crazy lows that come with it.
Yeah. It's he's a Sour Patch Kid that I always refer to. It is an addiction. And that's the hard part. You're going to have to figure out how to say no. That's the hard part. There's no... you do work with him. You can't just distance yourself. So when he comes back into your life, and he's going to, when he feels lonely and bored and sad, and he's not getting something from her, he will come back to you because that's his pattern. You're just going to have to find the strength to say no. You're going to have to choose yourself first. And now you have to see it in those terms. You have to see it as every time I say yes to him, I'm hurting myself. The same way an addict might have to say, every time I take a drink of this or I shoot this up, I'm killing myself, slowly.
Is that a conversation worth, I guess I'm always trying to think of a conversation to have with him.
No,
almost just
it's a
to make
conversation
myself
you have to
feel
have
better.
with. No, you have to have it with yourself. I think you need to
Yeah.
stop talking to him. He is never going to say to you, "You're right. I'm not good for you." And if he does, he doesn't really mean it. He's going to try to make himself feel guilty. And if he says that to you, it's because he wants you to say, "No, you're not. You're not a bad guy. You're a good guy." You know, it's very manipulative. I don't think he's meaning to be manipulative, but like people can be manipulative without even trying. I think you need to like give yourself some tough love. I think you need to go to your sister and your mom and your friends and ask them to hold you accountable and to check in on you and make sure that you're still saying no. And you have to like, you know, if it's little things, try to move desks if you can. I don't know if that's possible. You know, like I'm not going to hang out with them one-on-one. When you're in group settings, like don't be rude, but avoid him. And if he corners you and asks why, just say like, listen, if you ever say anything to him, it's just like, I need you to respect the fact that I did care about you. Use past tense. Like you were in a relationship, you went back and forth. I don't want to get into it with you. Like it is what it is, but I just want my space from you. I don't want to be your friend anymore. I want to move on from this. We work together. I need you to be professional. And I think you say it very cold like that. And then give him, you know, scare him a little bit. Scare him that he needs to start thinking about like his work etiquette and his professionalism at the office place. He needs to respect your boundaries, you know, as a coworker. And you say it like in a way that says, I don't want this anymore. I need you to be professional and respect me. And that's all I need to say. And you don't accuse him of everything. You're not mean. And you really got to challenge yourself to like not let him get you, you know, emotional or worked up, you know, like practice. This might be something you want to practice in the mirror because yeah, you're in a tough situation for sure. And I don't know how to say no to sugar. So like, I just go to the grocery store and I just like stay focused and I'm like, I don't buy anything. But if it's like someone brings it over, I'm like, fuck, I'm going to eat this, you know, like it's really hard. And like we just had a party and there was just a bunch of sugar. And so instead of like, you know, saving it and telling myself I'm going to like not eat it, I just threw it all away. I know myself. And I know that like, if I put it in the pantry, I'm going to fucking eat this shit, you know, and I'm going to feel worse. So I have to throw it away now. And so what you just have to start figuring out ways that like, you know, yourself, make it easy for me to say no to him. How can I make it easy to say no to him? When, like, if I just avoid the situation, if that means early on, you know, not showing up to certain events for a period of time just to like ease yourself in, then do that. It's okay to take a break. Don't force it. You know, like you're not proving anything to yourself, being like, I can show up and I can be fine. And like, maybe you won't be fine for a couple times. And maybe you take a break and just like not show up and make an excuse like, hey, you have something else going on. And then, you know, try it out, see if you can be in the same room with him and act indifferent and look at him and tell yourself, that guy's not very faithful to the people he says he loves the most. That guy's not very selfless to the people he says he loves the most. I honestly don't know if I could trust someone like him because at the end of the day, while he wants to think of himself as trustworthy, when he's feeling needy, he's an incredibly selfish person. And that's the truth about him. And like, doesn't mean he's a bad guy. And I'm sure eventually he'll figure it out. That's who he is right now. And he's not going to change for you or her. And maybe he needs therapy, you know? And if he's getting therapy, maybe he needs a more honest therapist, you know? But like, he's definitely an imperfect person with a lot of work to do it himself. And you need to see him in that light.
Yeah, I think it's easy to put on like the rose-colored glasses and focus on when he makes me feel good and like those sort of things, but I need to focus on the bad to make it easier to get over, I think.
When Caitlin broke up with me, I had two choices, right? I could sit there and tell myself that she was making the wrong decision, that what about all these things that happened between us, all the things she said to me, all the things she shared, all these moments, and I could obsess over these moments, right? Now, granted, I had the benefit of not being able to see her and have her not in my life, which helped, and you don't have that. But I chose in that moment to say, no, wait, like that was all kind of fucked up. And she made these choices. And while I don't think she's a bad person, I don't think she's the type of person I quite frankly thought she was or want to be in a relationship with. And that made it a lot easier to get over.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't happen overnight, but I just kept reminding myself anytime I had a moment of weakness, I was like, wait, what am I missing? That's not who I want. That's not someone I want to trust with my heart. And that's who she is. And we are so quick to like gas these people up because they do a handful of nice things. Anytime someone we like who makes us feel good, we give them all the praise and recognition for making us feel good. And when people, you know, disappoint us or hurt our feelings or make us feel confused, and weak and sad, we're so quick to make excuses for them. So like, stop making excuses for him. Start giving him the same recognition for his fault that you give for his successes. And if you focus on that, I think it'll help you see him in a very different light.
Yeah, I agree. No more excuses.
Stop saying that you love him, and you can say, he made me feel loved. He made me feel seen. That's okay to say, because that can be replicated. You know, when you say to yourself, oh, but I loved him and now I can't have him, your subconscious is telling yourself that he's the only person who can do this. And if you can't figure out how to get him in your life, then you will never feel these feelings anymore. And that's just not true.
No, yeah, you're right. Focus on the negative. I think that'll make it. I'm just focused on the positive and trying to pretend I don't have hope, but I do. I know I have hope, and I don't need that because I know I deserve better in the end.
Yeah, and it's gonna take some time. You're gonna have your bad days. This is gonna be hard. Take it easy on yourself. And if you don't feel up to like telling yourself no, then don't show up. You know, it's like I don't have the willpower to just have the candy in the pantry and say like, because then I have to say no every 5 minutes. You know, when I get the munchies, I'm just like, like it's, you know, so like I don't buy it. So you have to figure out how early on, put yourself in situations that don't require you to constantly have to tell yourself no. Work, it's going to be harder. But outside of work, you cannot be as available to the group for a while. And you know, just be busy, you know, and make up some fucking lies. You join and maybe join a class, maybe get busy with other things, and then give the impression that you're super busy. But he's going to fight for you. He's going to fight for this friendship or whatever this is. He's going to keep fighting, and it's going to be hard because you're going to have to really say no to him. And if I were you, if he truly ever broke up with his girlfriend forever and fought for you, I'd be very, very hesitant about getting what you think you want right now, because I wouldn't trust him.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I still think I deserve better. If I really when I do sit down and think about it, I'm like, anything, if he said today he wants to be with me, I would not these feelings of distrust, just everything would still be there. So yeah, I know at the end that we don't need to be together. I just can't seem to get him out of my life.
It is amazing what people can convince themselves of that shows a lack of character because of how they feel, you know?
100%.
Because he can be like, well, I have feelings for her, and so it can't be wrong to talk about this. You know, I'm not really talking about it, but he's been emotionally cheating on his girlfriend with you for God knows how long, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Think of some of these really intimate moments that made you feel loved by him. Yeah. And imagine being her, you know, and he's not going to stop doing that because he's convinced himself it's not cheating. It's not wrong. It's okay. Why? Because I care. And how could that be wrong? I have feelings.
Well, he's even made comments I was like, hey, if you guys are good, you're back together. Where does that put us? He's like, I've told her that if she doesn't want you in my life, then I'm not going to be with her. She's out before you're out.
It's all manipulative. Yeah.
Yeah.
If that's true, it's fucked up, and it's probably a lie.
Yeah.
Imagine being in a relationship with this guy who says, you can only be with me if you accept this quote unquote friendship in which I've been completely inappropriate with. And I made her feel like I got her to want to be with me. I made her fall in love with me, you know? And that's so fucked up. And you should see that as manipulative and fucked up and so selfish of him. And that's the person that you in the past were trying to be with. And you said you loved. You felt love. And again, like I've always said, be excited that you felt love and you felt these feelings, but try to replicate it with someone who also doesn't come with all this other bullshit.
Exactly. And I don't want to be put in the position that she is in. Yeah.
And feel good that you found someone who is having a hard time letting you go, who did fall for you, who had feelings for you. You still got it, you know, clearly, you know, you can be loved by people. So try to pull all the good from the situation and then be honest with yourself about the role you played and the shit that was bullshit and the things that you shouldn't accept and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And don't make excuses for his bad choices or what you told yourself was okay because it felt good in the moment. Be honest with yourself, and that should hopefully help you see him in a different light so that when you have to see him in person, you can kind of go, you're not that great of a guy.
Yeah, definitely. You need to focus on those parts and not the little parts that you want to focus on that make you feel good. Because at the end of the day, that's not worth it.
It sounds like he's very good at saying things that make you feel loved and validated. And you're quite honestly confusing that validation with love. And listen, like in a relationship, it's important for us to feel validation from the people we love. But if we get validation from people who can't back up their validation because they are in other relationships, say, or they're not willing to commit, then they're just words. Then it's manipulation. Then it's like something they're saying to like get you to stick around. People need to be able to back up their validation with their actions. And if they can't, then it's manipulation, I think. I mean, I just came up with that. So maybe some doctor's like, I don't know. But like, I'm pretty sure I nailed it. I don't know.
Sounds right.
Because then you're just fucking saying it because you're saying it hoping to get a reaction. He's saying this to you because, right? I'm guessing if you go back and play the tape, he's always saying this when you're frustrated or have one foot out the door or when you're trying to draw a boundary. That's when he comes up with all these things.
Yeah. No, it is when I pull away, he kind of knows it. And it's like, well, you mean the world to me. You're every bit of the world to me.
Yeah.
I need you in my life.
That said, if he ever wants to come with on the show with you, I'd love to have you both.
Oh, that would be interesting.
So to say, if if he ever comes back in your life and he begs, say, okay, I'll consider it, but you have to do this. It'll be anonymous. We'd love to have you.
Perfect. I'd love to do that, actually. Well, I appreciate you. I know I need to just stick to my guns.
Yeah, man.
So
I get it. There. Just take it easy on yourself. Truly, like ask your mom and your sister and your friends for some tough love. Ask them to hold you accountable because you need a support system here. It's not easy to do on your alone, and it's extra hard that you have to work with him, and it's a tough situation. But like you can get over this. You just have to really choose yourself first. You have to like see him as toxic. You have to see him as like the same way an addict would a drug that if they digest or, shoot up would kill them slowly. And at least if you do that, then be honest with yourself. It's just like, it reminds me of a chapter in my book and I kind of talk about the same thing. The easy part with drugs and candy and all these things, it's just like you kind of like the average person, we know it's just like, all right, I'm choosing, all right, fine, I'm gonna eat this. I know I was literally talking to my cousin at the party and we were just like we're both related, we're like sugar addicts and we're just like we're gonna be paying for this tomorrow, but at least we knew we made that choice. And sometimes with exes or partners or situationships, we convince ourselves that like we're gonna feel good, and this is gonna make her feel better. So if you're gonna hang out with them, and I don't think you should, but at least if you're going to, if you're gonna do anything with him, at least have the self-awareness and at least the honesty with yourself that if you do, you're doing it with the cost of knowing that I'm gonna pay for this tomorrow, but whatever. At least you're seeing it as an honest thing, something that's not good for you. But stop convincing yourself that he's like, kale, or whatever it is that he's not a protein shake, he's not a cleanse, he's toxic, and anytime you digest him, you're going to feel worse afterwards. You will have a hangover.
Yeah. I guess in those moments I try to tell myself that's not going to happen or this is the last time. I'm always the this is the last time person, but that needs to actually be true.
Pre-order my book. You could do that. That'll help.
All right. Get on it right now.
I promise it'll help your situation.
Before I step into a meeting with him in 10 minutes. So.
Or tell him I said fuck off. All right?
Okay, I'll do that.
All right. Take care.
Thanks, Nick.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
How's it going?
Hi, my name is Zoe. I'm 25 years old. I'm calling today about a situation with a friend of mine.
Okay.
We'll call him Ryan.
Okay.
I met him through my husband. They went to college together, and they've been best friends for about 8 years, except for they had a period of about 2 years where they weren't talking to each other. It wasn't so much a falling out as it was like not discussed, like my husband thought, oh, he must be mad at me. And Ryan thought, oh, he must not like me anymore. It was just kind of something like that. But ever since they kind of talked things out, we've all been really close since then. We used to live really close to Ryan and we would hang out multiple times a week. And him and my husband, John, would like talk on the phone and text and hang out all the time when we lived there. And he's a really great friend. He's really fun to be around, but he also has the kind of personality that's like, can be really draining. And like, if he's in a bad mood, then everyone else is going to suffer. So he can kind of take over things. He wants things to be his way. So that can be kind of hard to work with sometimes.
Okay.
Last year, I had invited him to a family function. So he met my parents and my siblings, and Ever since my wedding, when he first met them, just briefly, he's always thought that my sister was really cool, like my older sister. And he's like always wanted to know more about her, etc. So when he met her, things just kind of started where when I would hang out with him, he would be like, oh, we should Snapchat your sister. We should send her a video. I want to tell her about this. And he would do the same thing with my mom. He would just like always be trying to like make that connection, which I thought was kind of strange.
It made you kind of almost uncomfortable?
Yeah, it did, because like when I introduced him to my family again last year, it seemed like he was kind of putting on a show. Like he was trying to be super charming, like super friendly, more so than usual. So I was kind of like, what are you trying to do here? Like, we're really good friends. You don't need to put on a show. Like, this is just my family kind of situation.
Sure.
And there have been instances in the past that I've noticed with other friends in their group where he's met their family and he said things like, oh, they couldn't get enough of me. Or like, I hang out with so-and-so's friend, like brother, more than I even hang out with them. Like, I don't know. It just seemed like he was trying to like be closer to us by like really like becoming part of the family in a way.
Sure. Okay.
We moved a couple months ago, so we're about an hour away from him now. So I feel like this is coming at a time where like we don't hang out as much anymore, we don't talk as often, and he's like trying to like stick in the friendship, like you're like, I'm part of your family now, you can't abandon me. So anyway, the main problem is that about 2 weeks ago, I posted a picture of me and my mom and my sisters, and he followed them and messaged both my mom and my sister. He didn't tell me, but my sister and my mom told me. And neither of them really have a problem with him. They think he's really nice and friendly. But when they told me what he had messaged them, it like made me really uncomfortable.
What did he say?
To my mom, he knows that she's really into like crafting. And so he said something like, would love to come hang out and do some crafts, and just like something like that. And to my sister, I had told him that she likes this specific TV show. And at the time when I told him that, he was like, oh, I can't stand that show. It's the worst. But he messaged my sister and said, hey, I hear you like this show. I would love to watch it together sometime. And something like that, just kind of reaching out. I think you're great, that kind of stuff. So I was feeling uncomfortable about it, because I was like, why are you trying to like be friends with them if it means like it's not even a show you like? Why do you want to watch it with my sister? And like, so it's made me uncomfortable. I just don't feel like it's him genuinely wanting to be friends with them. I feel like it's kind of him trying to like force the friendship in a way. Okay. Yeah, so basically I haven't talked to him about it. I feel like it's been adding up, and ever since he messaged them, I've been wanting to figure out like, how do I establish a boundary with him where like I want to stay friends, but I don't really want him to be like in my family.
So the way I'm hearing this story, I think the big question to me is like what is really your level of discomfort, and how much do you trust or not trust this person? Because from what I'm hearing, it doesn't sound all that nuts. I also understand why it might feel a little weird, or why you might be uncomfortable. Like, everyone's different, every friendship's different, et cetera, et cetera. And like, you're not worried about this friend like trying to date your sister or anything like that?
No.
Okay. You know, there's a lot of people who like take great pride in being liked by family. Well, how old is this friend?
He's 30.
Okay. So yeah, I suspected he'd be older. And the reason why I asked is like, you said he has a big personality, a strong personality.
Yeah, he does.
Usually when you get older, like in your teens, 20s, you're not super self-aware yet. You know, you kind of think everyone else who doesn't get you, it's their problem kind of thing. But as you get older, you have a few falling outs, you know, getting some tiffs with some friends, maybe have a breakup or two, and you start hearing some like consistent feedback about how people perceive you. Part of being adult is figuring out that balance between, what is fair criticism that maybe I could try to work on, and what is just like, this is who I am, and I need to start hanging out with people who love and accept me for who I am, and finding that balance, right? That's kind of being an adult, right? And so my guess is he senses this about himself. He hasn't really totally faced it, right? But his way of going about protecting his friendships and relationships is to insert himself and become close with your mom and your sister, so that when he feels distant from you and your husband, he still doesn't feel lost, right? It doesn't sound Machiavellian or like sinister. It just sounds a bit disingenuous and a little manipulative. And my guess is you feel that and you just don't like that. And so you kind of have two choices as I see it. Like, it's a tough situation because it's a tough conversation to have.
Yeah.
Because how do you have this conversation?
Right.
Like, he's not really doing anything wrong, but you're kind of like, why the fuck are you doing this? And I could see how he could get really sensitive and defensive about the fact of do you not, what am I doing wrong? You have two choices. You cannot say anything because you ultimately don't think he's a danger to anyone. You're just kind of annoyed by him. Right. And you can just trust your sister and your mom to enforce their own boundaries, and they don't have to say yes to movie night, and they don't have to do crafts with him. They can just not respond, like, oh, sure, sometime, and just, avoid them.
Yeah.
That's not that hard. Or if you don't think that's possible, or if you think a conversation is needed, then it's going to be an awkward conversation.
Yeah.
It is. And I think you got to ask yourself, is it worth it? The question is if you try to have empathy for him, is it really that big of a deal to let him just have this, so to speak? Is he really doing anything wrong, even though he's kind of being a little insincere?
Yeah. I've thought about that too. Like, is it really the worst thing for him to be friends with my family? I think it's more just insecurities in me about like you said, how I feel about it, if I feel like it's genuine or not.
It just kind of bugs you because you see through it.
Yeah.
I get it. I totally get it. And now you just have to, and I think empathy will give you the answer. If you try to be really empathetic and understand why he's doing this, if you're still bothered by it after the fact, then maybe you say something. If if at the end of the day, you're just like, it's annoying, but honestly, I know why he's doing it. He's doing it because of this. And while I'm annoyed that I wish he would handle things differently, he's not hurting anyone. And reach out to him more. Maybe he misses you guys. Invite him out. You know what I'm saying? Because this is one of those things where you get annoyed by him. You and your husband talk about it, so that you just kind of avoid reaching out to him because you're just like, I'm just going to be annoyed. I'm going to see him and I'm just going to want to talk about this. So I don't want to see him, so I don't talk about it. So then you distance yourself. He feels that distance that you are putting into the relationship. So that causes him to internally panic and be like, well, I don't want to be exiled again. And he's probably self-conscious about his big personality. He's probably been told about this before, and he's having a hard time facing the truth. And this is how he's going about dealing with it,
Yeah.
So, I think try to be empathetic to him, and that will give you the answer of how important it is to you, or whether you need to bring it up. And then if you choose not to bring it up in the immediate future, try to make him feel more included. And then if there's ever an opportunity, even when it's not bothering you, to just have an honest conversation with him. Again, I don't know how that goes. It might always be awkward, but maybe then you can wait for the right time where you feel like he's maybe a little bit more open to receiving it,
Yeah. Yeah.
And anytime you give someone a criticism like that, I would always throw a handful of real great compliments his way. And all the ways that you appreciate his friendship and what he brings to the table as a friend and why you love him and what are his great qualities and et cetera, et cetera. That's always easier to hear, because it's kind of like, hey, we don't hate you. We would just love you even more if you didn't do X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how I would handle it.
Okay. I think that's good advice too, because I did talk to my mom about it, and I told her how I felt about the situation, and she was really supportive of me in that she was like, well, she kind of knew the history of our friendship, so she didn't respond making plans or anything. She just said thank you, and she said, I understand where you're coming from, to me, and just said, I don't want to cause any awkwardness in your friendship.
We all have our quirks, and we all can get in our head about it, and we do funny things to deal with it. And so, yeah, I would just find maybe a way to like tease him about it, call him out in a playful way about this fact that he DM'd your sister. Because like, it's not a big secret, right? He must assume that you're going to know. Be like, oh, right. Maybe say that. Be like, oh, and you like this show, by the way?
The show that we were talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't watch it as much as my sister, but I do.
So next time you see him, you're hanging out and not in a like, hey, call him up, we need to talk kind of energy, but like you're just chilling and you're like, what's this I hear about you want to watch this show with Beth? Like, what's that about? I thought you hate it. Like, oh, I don't know. And be like, and then you just be like, listen, if you want to hang out with us more, you don't have to go through our sister.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know.
That's good.
You
know?
know?
I think that's good.
Like, just call him out and see what he says. And then maybe that's a time where you just say, like, if you miss us, just reach out. And that's where you say, like he had this 2-year period with your husband. Granted, your husband played a role in this too, but like at any point, like just reach out. Because right now, you clearly have a friendship with this person where you guys are friends, you see a lot of great qualities in each other. But when you don't like something that each other is doing, no one's feeling comfortable enough to say, hey, what's up? And that's tough to do.
Well, and I will say, that is more the dynamic between him and my husband. Like they will kind of call each other on things in a way to air grievances. But that's never been my dynamic in the friendship. I've always just kind of let my husband take the lead on that kind of stuff.
Maybe he still can.
Where it's my family, I felt like I
follow your husband's lead. Just do what he would do in that way and then try it out. But I don't think there's any real urgency, and I think you can wait for the right time.
Okay. I like that idea too, because I don't want it to be like hey, it's been 2 weeks, but you did this and I hated it. Like out of the blue kind of thing.
Yeah,
so.
it feels a little icky, and I get why it annoys you for sure, but I don't think he's doing any harm.
Yeah.
He's just not a good communicator when he's feeling insecure.
Yeah, okay. That's good advice. Thank you.
All right, take care. Let us know if there's any updates.
Okay, I will.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to check out Going Deeper with Jason. I hate calling him Gabby's Jason because he's not Gabby's Jason, but Jason from The Bachelorette. So many unanswered questions. No one's heard from him since he's left the show. Now you get to finally get a chance to. We have The Bachelorette recap dropping on Wednesday. And don't forget, last chance to pre-order Don't Text Your Ex Happy Birthday. Comes out tomorrow, and it would mean truly the world if you would give it a shot, either for yourself or a friend. It's good. I'm just telling you. Pull the trigger. Yeah, just tap it. Just do it.
You're crazy.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss any future videos like our Tuesday Bachelor recaps and Wednesday celebrity and expert interviews. See you next time.